Welcome back. I'm here today with Jeff Hayzlett. He's author of the book of Think Big, Act Bigger. Jeff, welcome to today's show.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
So, Jeff, you've done many things in your life aside from writing your recent book, but for our listeners, can you take us on your timeline, background, and how'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, like most people, it's not a normal path, right? You always do different things that you think you're not going to do, but you do. I started off as an entrepreneur like a lot of different people. I worked in the House and Senate in political campaigns, and then that led me to go and create my own public relations firm. From there, I started buying up companies. I bought and sold over 250 companies in my career. Led me to, become a sales and marketing leader in a major company, a billion-dollar company. That got taken over, so I got fired from that job when the new guys came in, which is normal, the way it works for guys like me. And then I went on to become the chief marketing officer of a Fortune 100 company, Eastman Kodak. Left there 6 years ago and now started in my own television shows, my own radio shows, and then leading the C-Suite network. So it's a little bit not a normal path, but a path that I say, wow, that was a great ride so far.
It's a remarkable background that you have, and one that gives a lot of credibility to how you set the stage for Think Big, Act Bigger. What was your inspiration behind this book?
So many times entrepreneurs, leaders, businesses, we put obstacles in front of us. And they're self-imposed for no other reason. Well, we can't do this, we can't do that, or we tried that before. And quite frankly, in corporate America, I got tired of hearing about it. And so I decided to write this book, Think Big, Act Bigger, to talk about how we need to just, move through them, move around them, move over them, ignore those obstacles, and do the things we want to do. It's not the lucky who win, it's the relentless. And in my career, I'm not the smartest guy, I'm not the brightest guy, I'm not the quickest guy, and maybe the best looking guy, I don't know about that. But nonetheless, I wasn't born with silver spoon or a lot of money, but I've been extremely successful at what I've been able to do, mostly by just being relentless. And that is saying, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to go get it done, and I won't accept no for an answer. It might be a setback for a period of time, but that's really what the book is about. It's as much a self-help book as it is about this is the way you should plan your business.
When you're starting out, though, and everyone has a vision, everyone has a dream, but how do you move from thinking about it to actually putting it in place?
Well, it's not that difficult. It's just taking one step at a time. We all like to think it, like the first time I did Celebrity Apprentice, someone said, how'd you get on the show? I said, well, I called Donald Trump. And well, how'd you do that? Why would you do that? And I said, well, I picked up the phone, called 411, got the information, and called and left a message. I mean, it literally is that simple. And it's a matter of just saying one step at a time, baby steps. And I have a philosophy of crawl, walk, run. And that's really what we do in life from the time we're a little child all the way to the time that we die. We crawl, we walk, we run. And so in everything that we first start with, we're always a beginner. You don't become a maestro. You have to play a lot of bad notes. And so it's always that first step. It's that first plink on the piano, or that first, strum of the violin. It's that very first time. And that's just really what it has to take. You have to pick it up and do it.
So Jeff, in life, you'll often run across people say, yeah, Jeff, I get it. I need to take the first step, but I don't even know who I am and where my passions are.
But then start going somewhere. If you're going in a direction, you'll figure it out. I don't know. Someone once asked me, so what's my greatest achievement or my biggest failure? I said, I don't know. I haven't done it yet. And that's I think the way in which you should do. I don't think the leaders of these major companies, I happen to know who they are, a lot of them, they didn't start off with that in mind. They started off doing something. Maybe they were working at McDonald's. Maybe they were working at Pizza Hut. Maybe they were working, at a local saddle shop, whatever it might be from wherever you are. But they started somewhere, and they figured out along the way. The most important thing with business that we're going to learn for most of us that do things, unless you're operating heavy machinery or you're operating on someone, you make a mistake, no one's going to die. And that's really what it's about. So go try it. You'll find something that works for you. If it doesn't work for you, try something else.
Great advice. I'm visiting here today with Jeff Hayzlett. He is author of the book of Think Big, Act Bigger. We need to take a break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
I love fishing, with my family.
I think it would be easier to use a net.
It was so much fun.
The times when we are together, it makes it all the more worth it.
Having Dad teach them how to cast a fly rod, and
as long as we're doing stuff together, we're having fun.
Some people see a father and a son fishing together, while others see a succession plan.
Welcome back. I'm visiting here today with Jeff Hayzlett. He's author of the book of Think Big, Act Bigger. And Jeff, in the first segment, we were talking about, people that really weren't able to understand who they are, get their mindset in place. But, common excuses. What do people come up with to say, why can't they do this?
My book, Think Big, Act Bigger, I actually listed pages of excuses. I went out and crowdsourced amongst my friends and said, give me the list of excuses. Well, we can't activate that on Thursday because the best day to activate content's on Tuesday, or we tried it before, or it's not in the budget, which is a common one. It's all about making choices. That's what you have to do in life. You have to decide if that's what I want to do. With everything, there's pain. There always is. Pain of learning, pain of love, pain of everything. And you have to learn that you have to give up something to get something. And that's the first step of realization of being able on that journey, is to figure out what that pain's going to be and understand, again, no one's going to die in the process. So you have to make those decisions early on that I want to go to this place, I want to do this, and you're going to have to make choices and sacrifices along the way.
Yeah, I love the way that you put that. In order to get, you must first give.
Yeah.
Without really an understanding of what's going to happen.
I had a great person. I was inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame here about a year ago, and someone got up and spoke and said, in order to get, you have to give, and if you give, you get. I've always found that to be the case. And so, one of the things that I constantly do in business is always help other people, and by helping other people. And many people come to me and say, well, what'd you get out of that? Nothing. Eventually, I probably will. If nothing else, I learned something new about the person I was helping or about their business or what they did. So it's an important thing to do. It's a good thing to mention.
So when you work through this, how important are relationships as you're trying to solve business problems or move through? It's
interesting you say relationships. I was at a recent seminar or a conference, and someone got up and said, relationships, all about relationships now. And I looked around and I said, when did it stop? It's always been about relationships. And the best business I've ever done in my life, the best things I've ever done in my life have been always around relationships. And people should nurture that, especially those that are going out and trying to be thought leaders today, or even businesses trying to, take care of their customers. It's about that community that we're building. And you want to nurture that community. So that relationship with that customer, that relationship with your spouse, the relationship with your children, most important thing you can possibly do, you nurture that.
So, Jeff, in business, what comes first, the relationship or the business when you're starting?
Well, you can always master relationships and build from that, but I really think the business comes first. And here's why I say that. I think you want to focus in on what is it I want to be when I grow up as the business. So what are my conditions of satisfaction? What is it that I want to do, and then get other people to buy it from me? So you establish that relationship, that action cycle that we have, and I make a promise with you, the customer.
And in the acting big, what exactly does that mean?
It's always about we think we can only do this. I use it in my own personal example when I've talked to my team about helping build my own social media profile. At first, we thought 50,000 was a big number for followers on Twitter. Now we have over 300,000. And I would have thought, geez, if I just got to 100, it was okay. Now I'm thinking, let's get to 500,000. Why 500,000? How about 1 million? So it's about adding zeros, and that's what we need to do. Don't restrict yourself. I came from South Dakota. I'm from a place that most people don't know on a map, yet I'm one of the most successful business people out there today. Why? Because I thought bigger. I figured out, I could do this in Iowa. I could do this in Minnesota. I could do this all over the world, and that's what Thinking Big's all about.
I'm visiting here today with Jeff Hayzlett. He's author of the books of Think Big, Act Bigger. Jeff, I need to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages. Since you can't take your wealth with you, spend time with your family. Welcome back. I've been visiting here today with Jeff Hayzlett. He's author of the book Think Big, Act Bigger. And Jeff, we talked about getting started and launching companies, but you're a veteran at this, doing some 250 companies, and then Celebrity Apprentice, getting Donald Trump to put you on. But I want to move into your current project of C-Suite.
The C-Suite network, yeah, we're building the most vetted network for C-Suite executives. When you look across the platform, there's 28 million businesses. Yet businesses primarily over 10 million account for about 95% of all the spend. And that's only 600,000 businesses. So we're targeting those businesses and helping to have those leaders be the most strategic people in the room, but we're gonna vet them. So it's not like LinkedIn. We'll have a LinkedIn-like kind of component for the community so that we can network with each other online and offline with our events, but we wanted something because I'm getting inundated by all these people coming at me as a C-suite executives, and I can't tell who's who. And so what we wanted to do is to draw a line in the sand and put kind of a red velvet rope around the community. And that's what we've decided to do. So we're building a community for C-suite executives over 5 million in size, VP or higher, as a safe haven for them, much like a private club. And then we help them facilitate meetings together. We help them facilitate services that they get. And then we give them content. Because here's one of the key things for a lot of C-suite executives. When I'm the chief marketing officer of Eastman Kodak, I'm in meetings every minute of the day, from the time I get up in the morning till the time I put my head to bed late at night, sometimes even early the next morning. And yet my staff is out there looking at information, getting information, and they're figuring it out, ahead of me, which is great. But my job is to be strategic, not the smartest person. And so what we want to do is help those people be more strategic by feeding the right kinds of things to them.
Now, as they become part of the network, there's also an aspect of where they can do their own podcasts, or
there's all kinds of pieces. We have the community itself, we have our content, we have 4 C's: the community, the content, our concierge, and our convene or meetings that we have together. So on the community, again, like a LinkedIn, but on steroids and only for those people and vetted. Then the content then is those folks that want to produce content, or we curate the content for them in terms of news, podcasts, education, blogs that are done. And a lot of executives are starting to write more and more blogs, and they wanted to get it out to the right people. So those are the places that they can participate.
And then let's go through the last 2 C's.
Oh, and then convene. I love convene because you need to get people together. And we do everything from big meetings, like we're having one in September at the New York Times Center for about 400 executives, and we'll be talking about elections and everything else. But we do monthly meetings as well in lots of different communities where we might have a Scotch tasting event, or we might have a wine tasting event, or we might even just have a topic about what's Brexit happening for the United States or other countries. And so we have small gatherings, what we call salons, around a particular topic, so that those people who are interested, those executives, C-level executives who are interested, can come. And the last C is concierge services. When I was at a major company, I had a lot of people doing a lot of things for me, and in a smaller company, I wouldn't have that. So what services might those smaller companies need, and what services might the executive want, beyond what their company can do for them as well? And so we have partners with like Accenture and a whole host of others that, serve up products and services for the members and also for the members' companies.
When you look at the world today, and we're in a world of constant change, and recent guest, Module Q, is a Harvard PhD, came on and says, we're inundated with technology overload. How do we make things simpler? How does this C-suite help us to really?
Well, one of the things we do, especially on the content, is putting a learning engine in front so that we're giving you the kinds of stuff that you're asking for and the way that you want to do it. Let's imagine that you're CEO of a company and you got 4 different plants around the country, and one of those is in Wichita. Well, you don't always get to Wichita. Why do you have to go to an app and look and see what's happening in Wichita? Why can't we feed that information so you know? And like, for instance, weather. Well, why was weather important? Let's imagine you're about to have tornado warnings in Wichita near your plant. That would be a smart thing to know about as a CEO. So you can call the plant manager and say, hey, it looks like you're going to have some rough weather today. Are we ready for tornado warnings? Have we had our practices for our employees? Have we done the right things in order to do it? That's being strategic. And so that's what we can help to do in terms of give them that information. So it's not to say it's a filter, but it's a way of saying, much like when you go to a good club or to a restaurant and they know you very well, and you sit down, they know what kind of appetizer you like or what drink you like. And we're doing the same thing with the C-Suite network, anticipating what you need and then giving it to you as you need it.
With the network here is the idea that people can pipe in the technology, or is it actually face-to-face meetings in rooms?
Both. You have to go where the people are, you know. You can't build it and hope they'll come. You have to capture customer behavior. You know, I was doing a television show on Bloomberg, for instance, and it was a very successful show, #1 primetime business show. But we started having more people watch the show online than we're watching through broadcast. So we said, let's capture behavior. If they're watching it online or they're watching it on their app, why aren't we feeding the content? So we immediately changed and adapted so we wouldn't die, and we moved our content online. And that's what you have to be able to do, is change it and meet where people want. Now, if they want to do it face-to-face, then let's set up some face-to-face meeting. But if they want to hide behind an app and watch it there, okay too.
So for the listeners who are interested in joining C-Suite and more information, how do they find it?
Go to C-Suite, just go to C-Suite.com, C-SuiteNetwork.com, C-SuiteTV.com, C-Suite Radio, C-Suite Book Club. Just name C-Suite, look up hashtag C-Suite on Twitter or Facebook, wherever you want to go, you can find us.
I'm busy here today with Jeff Hayzlett, and we've been talking about this C-Suite Network. And Jeff, I'd like to thank you for being on today's show.
A pleasure.
We'll be right back after these messages.